And I'm going to send him these tracks, even though I'm a little embarrassed, honestly. I'm like, I don't know if this is right or not. And I'm feeling a little, you know.
Don't you think you're your own worst critic?
I think so. And I think it comes from a place of caring. I care. I want it to be good. And I want the people who are hearing it to enjoy what they're hearing and not be like, you know, it's that fear of the cringe.
Right.
And I'm I guess I'm a pretty critical listener. And so I think that everyone is a critical listener, which isn't necessarily.
I'll bet it's because you went to music school and all, like a lot of your performances were for peers.
Yes.
But today, when you go play a show, whether it's a club or, you know, a shed, it's like, what do you think the percentage of musicians are out there?
I think it's small, and even the ones that are there probably aren't as critical as I am.
Right.
Because they probably haven't done as deep work. No offense, but I know what some of these new young kids do, what they think is work, and it ain't what I used to do.
Right.
You know, maybe what we used to do, you know?
Well, I haven't worked like you have. That's for, no way.
Well, I don't know, but yeah, I think that it's I try to tell my students is the more you can be prepared. Like my favorite saying is luck favors the prepared. That's how I've lived my whole life. I have to like constantly, like when I was young, people have to tell me stop practicing, bro.
Right.
You know, like I would do these dinner theater shows, this place called Candlelight Pavilion, and I would be backstage before the show, just practicing, running scales or whatever, getting my pitch settled and you know, doing what I do. And it's literally like people get burned out. Like you're practicing too much, you know?
How much do you, when I was getting ready to move back to Seattle, I decided, and I still haven't undecided, but I had decided that I'm going to get another upright. I had one in the 90s. I basically took mushrooms and played it naked in my room, you know, and just like was weird. Mm-hmm. Never really learned how to play it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think what an inconvenience it is. I don't think I could even get it in my truck. It's a 5-foot bed. I'd have to put it up through the window, and it rains too much here. Yeah. But far be it from me to make a logical decision on buying an instrument. I have the most illogical collection of shit ever. But how much work have you gotten, or how much has playing the upright benefited you for a gig where you play electric bass primarily? At all?
Well, my technique is based on the upright, so even on electric, I'm still playing the same technique generally.
So you're not a gripper?
No. But I also do, like I'll do Samandal technique where it's a 3-fret span, mostly. So I'm using my first and pinky mostly. Unless I'm playing jazz or I'm soloing, then you can fan it out to 4 or 5, right? And be able to play more technical runs and things. But I think that the starting with upright, what that gave me was just tone production. And that's what I see when I was telling you about Tim LaFave and this other bass player. I'd seen them play in a similar group. And you know, Tim's not the most technical bassist. He's kind of a gripper. He plays with a pick a lot of the time, and it kind of looks caveman-y. And I didn't understand it for the longest time. But, like, his sound is insane. Like, his tone and his feel and his ideas, it's not at all like the other guy I saw play is way more technical and like flying lines and harmonics and all this fucking crazy shit. But like I could barely hear what he was doing. Where I could hear I could feel everything Tim was doing. And I think, you know, he's an upright player. And I just think that there's a correlation. The guys that I know that don't play upright but play electric and they're all super technical, they don't have the same tone production. And mostly play a super low action with light strings and all the tone is just coming from the electronics. You're not pulling any sound. How I grew up playing was pulling sound out of the string. So my basses are all, when people play my bass, my electrics, they're just like, holy fuck, because the action's up. Because I want to be able to yank that shit if I have to.
Right.
And that's where the tone comes from your hands. So I think without the upright, I wouldn't have that. It's kind of like without the dance background,
Sure.
certain things wouldn't exist in my playing. And without having played upright first, I don't think I would be as good of I wouldn't have at least what I have to offer as a bass player.
Right.
Because I'm not a super technical bass player either, even though I've done all the work, but like, I'm not even close to like these guys that I see. But I can produce really great sound, and
Sure.
and I have a feel and I understand certain things. So I think the upright really was a essential part of my playing, even though I don't use it much now. But in my 20s, I made a living playing upright. I played jazz gigs every night. I played orchestra gigs. I was doing all kinds of stuff on the upright. Huh. That was how I made my living until I started touring.